It was a sunny afternoon at the edge of town, where an old diner stood by a busy road. The kind of place where bikers would gather, their roaring engines echoing across the parking lot. It was supposed to be a regular day for them, loud laughs, the smell of gasoline, and the thrill of the ride. But little did they know, something unexpected was about to happen that would change the tone of the day. The sound of a motorcycle screeched to a halt, followed by laughter from a group of leather-clad bikers standing near their parked bikes. They were menacing in appearance, tall, bulky, covered in tattoos, with vests that bore the patches of their motorcycle club. They owned that space, or so they thought. At that moment, an elderly man appeared. He parked his old, worn-out pickup truck and stepped out, adjusting his cardigan. He looked out of place, a calm and gentle figure walking into the lion's den. His beard was white, his eyes sharp, and his demeanor calm. His presence didn't go unnoticed. "Hey, old man," one of the bikers called out, his voice dripping with mockery. "You lost or something? This ain't a retirement home." The elderly man, unfazed by the taunts, simply nodded politely and walked past them toward the diner. He was clearly not interested in any confrontation. But the bikers weren't done with him yet. "Hey! I'm talkin' to you," the loudest biker barked, stepping in front of the man to block his path. This guy was the leader of the pack, a towering figure with a shaved head, a leather vest, and tattoos covering his arms and neck. He leaned in, his voice laced with aggression. "Didn't anyone tell you? We don't like strangers around here." The old man looked up, locking eyes with the biker. His calm expression never wavered. "Excuse me," he said, his voice calm but firm. "I just came here for a cup of coffee." The biker chuckled, looking back at his crew, who laughed along with him. "A cup of coffee? You gotta be kidding me," the biker sneered. "You don't just walk into our space like that, Grandpa." The tension was thick in the air. By now, a few locals sitting inside the diner had turned their heads to watch the scene unfold through the window. There was an uneasy silence as they waited to see how this would end. The elderly man remained calm, his hands steady. He took a step forward, looking the biker straight in the eye. "I've walked into far worse places than this," the old man said quietly, his words carrying a weight that silenced the laughter around him. The biker's smirk faded, replaced with a look of confusion. There was something in the old man's eyes, a quiet confidence that hinted at a story untold. But the biker wasn't ready to back down just yet. "What's that supposed to mean?" he scoffed. "You think you're tough, old man?" Suddenly, the elderly man pulled back the sleeve of his cardigan, revealing a faded tattoo on his forearm, a military insignia, one that only those familiar with it would recognize. It wasn't just any tattoo. It was the mark of a man who had seen combat, who had served his country in times of war. The biker's expression changed instantly. His eyes flickered to the tattoo, and a flash of recognition crossed his face. You were in the military?" the biker stammered. The old man nodded slowly. "Served more years than I can count. Seen more than you could ever imagine." The crowd of bikers, who had been laughing moments ago, now stood in stunned silence. Even the leader took a step back, unsure of what to say next. The balance of power had shifted completely. "Listen, we don't want any trouble," the biker said, his voice quieter now. "I didn't come here looking for trouble," the elderly man replied. "But trouble tends to find me. And trust me, son, I know how to handle it." There was a pause, and then the elderly man added, "You see, people like me, we've been through hell and back. You might think you own this place because you ride in a pack. But real strength? Real courage? That's something you can't fake." The leader of the bikers swallowed hard. For the first time, he looked unsure of himself. His bravado had crumbled in the face of a man who had lived through battles far more dangerous than this parking lot encounter. "You have no idea who you're messing with," the old man said, his voice steady and calm. At that moment, the biker nodded slowly, acknowledging the unspoken truth. The elderly man wasn't just some random stranger. He was someone who had earned his respect the hard way, through years of sacrifice and service. The old man turned and walked into the diner, leaving the bikers standing in silence. Inside, the waitress greeted him with a smile. "Your usual, Mr. Walker?" "Yes, please," he replied, taking a seat by the window. Outside, the bikers quietly mounted their motorcycles and left the parking lot. There was no more laughter, no more taunts. The leader of the pack glanced back one last time before speeding away, the sound of their engines fading into the distance. Sometimes, the most unassuming people carry the most powerful stories. In a world where people are quick to judge based on appearances, we're often reminded that true strength isn't always visible on the surface. It's found in those who faced hardships head-on, who fought battles most of us will never know, and who carry their courage quietly, without needing to prove it. If this story moved you, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories like this one. And tell us in the comments, have you ever underestimated someone, only to find out they were far more than they seemed? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, respect isn't about how loud you are or how intimidating you look. It's about recognizing the strength in others, even when it's hidden behind a quiet demeanor. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.